Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Coaches Show here on 90.1 KBPK and SportsNetUSA.net. I'm Noah Alvarez, and to my right is Victor Vasquez. And later on in the show, we'll be joined by Ryan Osborne. As for this week's Coaches Show, we're going to do things a little bit different as it's Thanksgiving this week, and we're going to make a Thanksgiving special with the Fullerton College Athletics program. As later on in the show, we do have interviews with head coach Perry Webster of the men's basketball team, and also head coach Gabriel Martinez of the women's water polo team stops by as they had a big tournament, and we'll be talking about that a little bit more later. Victor, Thanksgiving, obviously it's not Thanksgiving without a turkey. Who's the turkey of this Fullerton College athletics program?
Well, Noah, you mentioned it right there, is that turkey is the biggest piece of a dinner when you have it and you're celebrating with family. So we had to go with football. Football is just that main sport in Fullerton College. Whenever people try to recruit and, people come in from different high schools and they're looking at a football program, they look at Fullerton College football. So you got to go with turkey that relates to Fullerton College football.
Yeah, plenty of conference championships, plenty of national championships in their history, but I'm going to say the turkey was a little overcooked this year. It was left a little dry, left us wanting a little bit more from that football season. Okay, mashed potatoes and gravy, another staple of a Thanksgiving dinner. Who are you going with as the mashed potatoes and gravy of this athletic program?
Well, Noah, for Fullerton College, I'm going to go for mashed potatoes and gravy, the women's water polo team. They just won a state championship this past weekend, and to me, they're just so great when they're in the water. Just like mashed potatoes are great with gravy, that's just the connection I had to make. They had so much success throughout the season, and to me, mashed potatoes and gravy go well with the turkey that we just mentioned.
Yeah, mashed potatoes are great when they're topped off with gravy. Well, that women's water polo team, their season was topped off with the state championship. So congrats to head coach Gabriel Martinez and the rest of his athletes. We'll have interviews with them and cover their games a little bit later in the show. And then one of the more everlasting dishes on a Thanksgiving dinner table is the green beans. Who's the green beans of this Fullerton College athletic program, Victor?
Well, Noah, it's got to be the cross-country team for both men's and women's here at Fullerton College. Just like green beans, you mentioned that last a long time, so does this cross-country team. They last so much that they actually qualified, a few runners did, for the state championships.
Yeah, led by head coach Gina Bevick. She has that program heading in the right direction. Now we're going to send it over to an interview with head coach Perry Webster of the men's basketball team. I'm here with head coach Perry Webster of the Fullerton men's basketball team. And coach, your team's off to a 7-0 start. What's really impressed you with your team as far as the expectations coming into the season?
Yeah, I think I kind of thought we had a chance to be really good defensively, and that's kind of played out that way early in the year. Proud of the guys really committing to getting stops, and if we defensive rebound a little bit better, I think we're going to be even better on that end. So, but I'm just proud of the guys and how they've come out and really taken that to heart. And I think Harrison Bonner has really led the charge with our defense and going out, taking out other teams' best guys, and just really committing to the plan. So I'm proud of our guys for that.
Defensively, too, you're also averaging over 7 blocks per game right now. It's still early in the season, but is that something a staple of your defense, controlling the paint on the defensive side?
Yeah, well, when you recruit Jacob Hyman, you expect to have your block numbers go up a little bit. I've seen Jacob for a long time, and he's got impeccable timing on his shot blocking, and he's probably averaging half of those blocks that we're getting. And then his backup RJ Nibb blocks some shots too. And then we're long and athletic on the wing, and those guys are challenging shots, and we're forcing teams into difficult shots. So I like the block numbers. Part of that I don't like is that we're letting guys get to the rim a little bit. I'd rather be able to keep them on the perimeter, but we got to just continue to man the paint and not let teams get score in the paint.
So speaking of scoring, flipping over to the offensive side, still early in the season, but you guys are averaging over 82 points per game in this year. Who's really stood out offensively for you thus far leading the charge?
Yeah, I think there's a few guys. I don't think that we're one guy show, kind of like last year with Lance. He was kind of the one guy. This year's a little bit different. We have multiple guys scoring. Tawan Elston scoring the ball. He's coming off the bench. He's scoring a lot of points. He's doing a good job. Majay Smith has scored the ball. He shot the ball well to start the year. He's averaging over 15 a game. Jacob inside is scoring the ball on the block. I'd like to see him get some more touches. DJ Houston, helps us out on the offensive end. Ronnie Stapp really helps us out on the offensive end with his versatility. We need to continue to get better on that end, not settle. I thought we settled a little bit the other day for some three-point shots that we need to make sure we're attacking the rim a little bit and getting to the foul line a little bit more.
So you mentioned Elson. He's leading the team in scoring currently, but he still comes off the bench as that six-man role. Is that something where you want to keep him throughout the season, or do you have any thoughts of maybe putting him into the starting lineup?
No, I think that that's the role that we like for him. That's the role he likes for himself. You know, we pulled him. I pulled him into the office at the beginning of the year, and I just asked him. I just said, "Hey, this is kind of what I see for you. I think this is what you can do for us." And it wasn't like he fought back at all. He was just like, "Okay," you know, and he accepted that role, and he likes that role, and he's got a green light to come in and score and shoot the ball. So he's done a good job in that role, and all of them have really accepted their roles and done a good job of just really competing and playing together.
So let's rewind to your team gets off to a 4-0 start, but then you face your first real challenge against College of the Desert. How do you think your team handled the pressure as far as the contested game? The first contested game, it was only a 3-point victory, but how do you think your team did against the pressure of that situation?
Yeah, I don't think we played very well throughout the game. I thought that we had a 14-point lead in the second half, and we kind of let them back in and lost focus. And so we didn't play great, but I thought down the last couple minutes we kind of dug in and found a way to win the game. Jacob made a couple big free throws late. We got some stops late. It was a good test for us to be tested on our home floor in a close game, but we'll have a lot more of those as we go along. And I don't worry or concern myself too much with the pressure of the moment. We recruit high-level players that have been in high-level games. They're ready for those experiences. We're not too concerned about the moment.
And that same week, you take on another top 5 team in Santa Monica College. You have a more comfortable victory there. What did you like from your team's performance that day?
Well, it was a mature approach. I mean, I think that you go into a game. We were number 3 in the state. They were number 2 in the state. You walk into the gym, and our guys really just approached the day the right way. They got their shots up. They got a good walkthrough in. We were up 16 at the half and kind of just took our foot off the gas pedal, let them back in the game a little bit. But we kind of showed that what kind of team we can be, the level which we can get at. I think that was a good early test for our guys. They've had a target on their backs, but those first few opponents really didn't have a chance of beating us. We were much better than them. But Santa Monica Desert and then Mount St. Jacinto all could have beaten us, and our guys responded the way we want them to respond. So we just got to keep going with it.
Your team's off to a 7-0 start this season. You're coming off a championship too, and we hear the term a lot, championship hangover, all the time. But how do you make sure your guys stay focused and on point every day at practice and in games?
Yeah, I mean, championship hangover, I don't really see that with this group. It's a whole new team pretty much. There's only 2 guys back from that group, and those 2 guys have kind of had to elevate their roles. So we haven't had any of that. There's not going to be any of that going on in my practices or in our game prep or anything. We're focused on this year and this team, and our guys have done a good job of focusing on the daily tasks.
So Thanksgiving right around the corner. We got to ask, because it was a conversation at the radio station, what's the way you prefer to eat a turkey?
Well, I like an oven roasted turkey. I like the turkey, but I like all the other stuff that goes along with it. My mom makes an incredible sweet potato casserole. That's really good. My wife makes a very good sweet potato casserole, but they're very different. My mom's wins out because she's my mom and she has to win. But stuffing, gravy, mashed potatoes, pecan pie. I mean, I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. But the best thing about Thanksgiving is being able to spend some time with my family and being in the middle of the season and going through the stressors of everyday practice and everything, and kind of just being able to separate for a day and go spend time with my wife, my kids, my brothers, my parents is something I really look forward to.
Are there any Thanksgiving traditional plates that you tend to stay away from that you're not a fan of?
I don't know if you see me with my shirt off, but I don't seem to stay away from very many meals at all. That's not a problem that's ever been had in the Webster house. I have 3 brothers, and it was eat or be eaten. So no, nothing I stay away from.
All right, well, thank you very much for your time, and best of luck the rest of the year.
Thank you.
Now, for the remainder of this week's Coaches Show, Ryan Osborne, Victor Vasquez, and myself, Noah Alvarez, will be covering nothing but the women's water polo team here at Fullerton College, as head coach Gabriel Martinez and his athletes had the spotlight on them this past weekend. They were participating in the CCCAA state championship tournament and were looking to bring home a trophy. That first matchup was a semifinals matchup with Sierra Canyon College back on November 22nd. And if you remember, the Hornets lost to that same Sierra Canyon team just a season ago in the state championship. it was a heartbreaker. So there was a little bit of extra incentive for this Hornets team to come out with a victory in the semifinals round. Let's go ahead and recap the action. So as we get started in this game, it's worth mentioning Fullerton and Sierra College met earlier this season, back on September 7th, and the Hornets came out victorious 16-3. But as we got started in this game, well, it was a defensive slugfest, Victor, on both sides.
It really was, Noah. Both goalkeepers for Fullerton and Sierra were just causing havoc for both offenses. They were getting their hands on all these balls, all these shots and deflections. You got to give it up to Samantha Churcher and Tatiana Cava.
Yeah, and if you look at the Sierra Canyon defense, too, they play really far close to the net, forcing the Hornets to take a lot of tough, long-range shots.
As we see here, another deflection and a block by Samantha Churcher. She actually finished the game with 15 saves against the Fullerton Hornets.
Yeah, she was a key part of that Sierra Wolverine team as she finished the year with 216 saves on the season. Now, Churcher wasn't the only goalie balling out last Friday afternoon as Tatiana Cava, the sophomore for Fullerton College, made a few nice saves as well on the afternoon.
She actually finished with 13 saves against Sierra and also had 258 saves throughout the season.
She has been a model of consistency for this team and for head coach Gabriel Martinez as she keeps the Hornets scoreless until the 5-minute mark of the first quarter when Angie Calzada was able to catch her own miss and then throw it in with her left hand.
And that wouldn't be the only goal she scored today against Fullerton, Noah. She actually led the Sierra Wolverines in goals with 60 in the season.
Yeah, they went scoreless for a while, but then Calzada towards the end of the second quarter got another goal, putting Sierra up 2-0 over Fullerton College. However, it was Abigail Nunez of Fullerton College to get the first goal on the afternoon for the Hornets as they trailed 2-1 at the time.
Abigail Nunez, a sophomore utility player, had 52 goals in the season, along with 49 assists.
Then Brianna Santis, just a minute later, evened things up at 2 apiece for the Hornets as she was able to connect on the left side.
Brianna Santis finishes with 2 goals, the back-to-back OEC MVP, making big plays for Fullerton.
She made another big play just before the first half came to an end, as with 13 seconds left, she scored on the penalty shot right here and put the Hornets up, giving them their first lead. They didn't look back after that.
Fullerton goal, Brianna Sanchez.
Then in the third quarter, it was Charlie Jackson who was in the right place at the right time scoring a goal for the Hornets. But the Wolverines wouldn't go down without a fight as Angie Calzada scored another goal at the 5-minute mark in the third period as Sierra then trailed 4-3 to Fullerton College.
Angie Calzada finishes the game with all 3 scores for the Wolverines.
That'd be the last time that Sierra scored, as Kelly Doherty put things out of reach as Fullerton went up 5-3 on this penalty shot right here.
Doherty, in the season, had led the Fullerton Hornets in goals with 86, as well as having 31 assists.
Then we saw Kelly Doherty really take over for this Fullerton Hornets team as she put the team on her back, scoring two of the final 3 goals, putting the Hornets up 7-3 with 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
And then the final goal came with 3 minutes and 11 seconds to go by Diana Levias, who during the season actually had 25 goals and 19 assists.
So plenty of the players that have came through for head coach Gabriel Martinez all year long came through in the state championship, as Tatiana Cava made a few more great saves, as you see here in the replays, as well as Sierra had really nothing going offensively. Here was their last good look at goal as Fullerton just continued to apply the pressure both on offense and defensively. The Hornets finished the game out shooting the Wolverines 33-23, and as you mentioned earlier, Fullerton had 13 saves on the afternoon in comparison to Samantha Churcher, who had 15 on the afternoon. With the victory, Fullerton then advanced to the state championship final against Riverside College, and it would be the 6th time of the season that these two teams met, 2 Orange Empire Conference foes.
Fullerton is going to the state finals.
As you see head coach Gabriel Martinez, his team huddled up and taking a picture after their big victory in the semifinals. We had the chance to catch up with Gabriel Martinez after the semifinals victory, as we have an interview with him coming up. I'm here with head coach Gabriel Martinez with the women's water polo team here at Fullerton College after a big victory over Sierra Canyon in the state semifinals. Let's go back to the first quarter. Your team goes down 2-0, but then score 3 goals in the second quarter to retake the lead. What were some of those mid-game adjustments that you made with your team?
Well, I think that we saw video of them before the game started and reminded them that they were going to run a big drop into our centers. And I told them we made the adjustment before the game, pulled the girls out, reminded them of the adjustments we were making, and I think that down the stretch they took advantage of the adjustments that we made as the game went along.
So we also saw in that first half that you made a substitution with all 6 players jumping out of the pool, then you had a new 6 coming in. What kind of luxury it is as a coach to have that flexibility and have that much depth on your team?
I think that there's a lot of talent, and I trust all the girls that on the team in a semifinal of a state championship game to trust the girl, our second lineup, to go in there and hold their own, and not just hold their own, but expect them to score and maybe take the lead and change the momentum of the game. And I thought they did a really good job at that.
So how important, because after taking the 3-2 victory, your team continued to put it on offensively. How important is it to keep your foot on the gas pedal when you have a team with their back against the ropes like that?
I think it's a statement to everybody else that we're not here to play games, you know. We're here to win this championship and go home with it. Yeah.
So also, too, was there any point that you used the motivation from last year's state finals loss to Sierra at any point in this week's game?
We talked about it as we were preparing for the game during the week. I reminded them before the game started, and I think that was definitely the extra edge that we needed to get past this game.
All right, well, thank you very much, Coach, and best of luck in the state finals.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
So we finish off the semifinal, and all of a sudden, Fullerton College found themselves in the state tournament final. This is it. The Hornets looking for their second state championship since 2014. They have been one of the best teams, best programs overall in the state of California, if not the entire nation. The United States looking at this Fullerton College program under Coach Gabriel Martinez as one of the finest in all of community college water polo. Well, the Hornets again had to go to the final, and this time they have to finish it off. Last year they played Sierra. As Noah and as Victor mentioned, they played Sierra in the final and ended up losing by 2 goals thanks to a lot of penalty shots that ended up taking place, and Fullerton wasn't able to take home a victory. Well, this year they beat Sierra, so now they're in the final, and who would they have to face? None other than their nemesis. RCC, Riverside City College, at 28-7 would have to take on the 32-3 Fullerton College Hornets. These two teams had faced each other 4 times during the regular season, and we're looking at number 5 in this matchup. The first match finished as RCC with a victory. They beat Fullerton in the first 3 games of the season, and after that, every time that Fullerton faced them, it was no contest. The Hornets got the victory. As we start to take a look at the final, it opened up with both of these two teams kind of in a defensive battle. It was 2-1 Fullerton after the end of the first quarter. Fullerton got on the board first thanks to Alexandra Lopez off an assist by Abigail Nunez, making it 1-0, 4:29 in. Then all of a sudden, with 17 seconds left, RCC on a 6-on-5 chance evened it up. Nicole Tormey, with an assist to Hannah Piercy, made it 1-1. But just 11 seconds later, Brianna Santis had her own opportunity to give Fullerton a lead going into the second quarter, and she did exactly that. 2-1 Fullerton is where things would stand going into the second. In the second quarter, back and forth, both of these two teams swam. They tried to get the advantage. Neither team was really able to stake that claim. However, as we went into halftime, Fullerton leading at 2-1, Coach Gabriel Martinez, as we saw in the semifinal where he took everyone out in his starting 6 out of the pool, brought in his secondary shift, he is not afraid to be able to make statements in these types of big games. Well, going into halftime, this is a team that needed some scoring, and Fullerton College would get exactly that after a couple of adjustments, bringing out a couple more wings over towards the opposite side. Gabriel Martinez opened things up. He made it 3-1 with his team. Brianna Portales off of an assist from Charlie Jackson. 5:07 left in the the third quarter, and Fullerton College was leading it 3-1. They would add to that as Kelly Doherty, who was one of the top 3 Hornets in terms of overall scoring this season, would get an assist from Tatiana Cava to make it 4-1, and the Hornets were off and running. Under a minute and a half to play, Brianna Santis would get her second of the afternoon off an assist by Lexi Rachel. 5-1 Hornets. Alexandra Lopez with 6 seconds left in the third, an unassisted goal, making it 6-1, and Fullerton College was already tasting victory. The Hornets, all they needed were just a few more minutes, 8 minutes to be exact, and they would be state and possibly even national champions. But that's when the fourth quarter happened, and RCC kind of woke up and realized, hey, wait a minute, we beat Fullerton earlier this season. What are we doing? We have to be able to get into this one, and Maria Roldan ended up getting an unassisted goal just about a minute and 20 seconds into the fourth quarter to creep it a little closer. It was 6-2 at that point. Then, 30 seconds later, RCC again with a goal. Isabel Ritter, the assist from Nicole Tormey to make it 6-3, and now Fullerton's starting to think, oh, well, we've got to adjust here. We've got to get more to a defensive game plan. We can't allow for RCC to get on a roll, but get on a roll is exactly what would happen for RCC. In a span of a minute and a half, RCC scored 3 straight goals. Isabel Ritter getting the goal on each and every opportunity. 6-3, 6-4, 6-5. And from 6:41 left to go in the fourth until 5:27 left to go in the fourth, it was a 6-5 game. And Fullerton College was truly sweating this one out as Fullerton was up by just 1. Just about a 30-second period in between that fifth goal for RCC, they would get another one. That's right, all of their goals within 2 minutes. 5 straight goals for RCC in 2 minutes, and Fullerton was reeling. It was 6-6, a tie with 4:51 left to go, and Fullerton finally stopped the scoring chances for RCC. Neither team was able to get on the board. A couple of saves from both of these two sides. Tatiana Cava having her opportunity, and Madison Button as well to get a couple of saves in the final 4:51. But that's when Brianna Santis, 52 seconds left in the fourth quarter, she showed up. She was the reigning Southern California Player of the Year, and she showed exactly why that is. 52 seconds left. She goes to the wing and fires one home, and Fullerton College was leading it 7-6. They needed to hold on for 52 seconds, and they did exactly that. Fullerton College took the final buzzer with a lead of 7-6. The final, Fullerton College up by 1 over top of RCC, the 2019 CCCAA state champions. Gabriel Martinez getting his second title since 2014 and getting a chance to jump into the pool with all of his athletes as this team finally is able to crack through and they get that state title once again. So they end up finishing their season 32-3. You look at the stats between these two sides. On the left-hand side for RCC, Isabel Ritter was fantastic in that 2-minute stretch in the fourth. 3 goals and an assist on 4 shots and 2 steals that she finished off the afternoon with, but it just wasn't enough. On the other side for Fullerton College, leading the way was Brianna Santis. She had a hat trick on 8 shots. She also had 5 steals, 2 turnovers as well, and Fullerton College was able to look to her and say, Brianna, take us to that state title, and Brianna Santis did exactly that. Alexandra Lopez, who was a starter, ended up getting 2 goals on 4 shots and 2 steals as well, and they also got secondary scoring from Brianna Portales and Kelly Doherty. The goalie for Fullerton College, Tatiana Cava, got the win. She only gave up 1 goal against in just about 3.9 quarters of play, 9 saves on 14 shots in total. On the other side, Madison Button finished with 7 goals against. She played all 4 quarters, 7 saves in total on 14 shots. Fullerton College, when you look at both of these two teams in terms of shots, they were equal. 22-21, Fullerton up by 1, and that was the one that they needed to take home the state title. Saves, 9-7, that went the way of the Fullerton College Hornets. So once again, to recap, Fullerton College wins it 7-6. They held on for the victory. They got the game-winning goal from Brianna Santis, and they all got to jump in the pool with Gabriel Martinez as they win the 2019 CCCAA State Championship for the second time since 2014.
Back here at the Coaches Show, and Victor, we still got to finish our Thanksgiving feast. We almost forgot the stuffing. Who is the stuffing of this Fullerton College athletics program?
For me, Noah, I got to go with the women's volleyball team. There was a lot of stuffing above the volleyball net, and that was due to Samaria Longstreet setting a school record for most blocks. So she was just so dominant for her team and for Coach Megan Glennie.
Yeah, she finished the season as a first-team All-Orange Empire Conference nomination. And also shout out to head coach Megan Glennie for, getting that program in the right direction. In 2 seasons with the program, she has made 2 playoff appearances. Now let's switch it over to the sweet potatoes. Who are the sweet potatoes of this Fullerton College athletic program?
Well, for me, Noah, sweet potatoes relates to sweet moves on the basketball court, all the spin moves and all these nice pivot moves by these basketball players for both men's and women's, and for the men's basketball team who actually won a state championship earlier this year.
Yeah, shout out to head coach Perry Webster and head coach Marsha Foster of both the men's and women's basketball team here at Fullerton College. And then we got to finish it off with some dessert. We got to go with the apple pie. Who's the apple pie of this Fullerton College athletics program?
Noah, I'm going men's and women's soccer. Both teams baked the competition in the OEC to make it into the playoffs, so you got to give it to them for that sweet dessert.
Well, that's going to do it for our Thanksgiving feast here at the Coaches Show. From our family to yours, we hope that you have a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. For Ryan Osborne, Victor Vasquez, Mark Pavlovich, and Corey Nalen, I'm Noah Alvarez. Thanks for tuning in to another Coaches Show here on 90.1 KBPK and SportsNetUSA.net.